When I was 7 years old, a few 10-year-olds picked on me. One of the kids, as far as I know, got upset because I once said his name. His name was Peter, and maybe he thought I was making fun of him. But at least, he claimed that this was stupid, because who would be angry because someone said the name of the cross? Nonsense. Once they caught up with me on the street, they threatened me and kept cursing, and I got so upset that I punched him in the stomach. But the 3-year age difference showed because it wasn't him who fell, but I fell backward. My mom visited him and told him to leave me alone, which worked for a while except for that one incident when a few months later, without a word, I was hit in the face with a snowball packed with ice. There was no reason, just when I wasn't paying attention, they almost took out my eye for fun, then laughed loudly from the other side of the street. Also, when I was 7 years old, there was an older kid. We always greeted each other on the street, but once, without any reason, he punched me in the stomach. Later, due to family reasons, we moved away from the village, so I ended up in another school. I was 11 years old then. That's when the real trials began, because half the class started picking on me. Before school, after school, being thrown into the snow, shoving, and of course no snowballs packed with ice, but also during the day and every break in the schoolyard. Teachers saw it, turned away, laughed. There was no help. Practically every day my clothes were soaking wet. And that's how I sat through every winter school day. Of course, there was nothing to be done by force. A child against 7 older others was hopeless. Fortunately, we moved away from there quickly. The next school also started with bullying, but there a few fights solved the problem. At least the bullying was individual rather than in groups, so fighting provided a solution. Afterwards, I made a lot of friends there, including those who initially bullied me and those I fought with. Then came high school. On the first day, the seniors ordered that I should rubber band a yogurt cup to the nose of every freshman. Naturally, the teachers overlooked this, even though the whole purpose was clearly to humiliate. There were times when they specifically threatened me, saying they saw me in the store without a box on my nose, and that I had to wear it everywhere. Outside of school, neither I nor anyone else was involved, but sometimes they would pick on all the freshmen, to show that they were the tough ones. On one occasion, when 2 fourth-year students came down, they ordered me to go to the classroom to erase the board. I told them I wouldn't go. Then they grabbed and dumped the contents of my pencil case onto the floor. In response, I told both of them to get lost, telling them to go to hell. I was expecting a fight to start, but one of them just turned red in the face. Then they angrily left the room. I picked up my pens and pencils from the floor. Then about 10 fourth graders showed up. Some of them were quite big. They surrounded me and said that either I go clean the board or they would beat me up immediately. Even within my class there were 3 troublemakers. They sometimes made snide remarks. Once one of them even attacked me. We fought. And he threw some filth at me. I kicked him in the head. He was lucky that my shoe slipped off his face, because if he had taken it full on, he would have definitely been knocked out. Anyway, he was quite a big sheep, because the 4th graders picked on him too. But he just said it didn't matter, because when he became a 4th grader, he would humiliate the 1st graders for it. I remember feeling nauseous when he said that. I found what he said so disgusting. Then came the day of the freshman initiation. They said they would randomly select a few people who would be humiliated. Of course, it was obvious that I would be part of the random selection because I had said no to them a few times. And I was right, because somehow, accidentally, my name was drawn as well. The evening came, a big building, all the students and teachers were there. Downstairs were the humiliated ones in a circle, along with others, and there were people on the upstairs corridor as well. From up there, the teachers looked down and laughed at how the older students humiliated the freshmen. I would compare it to when Caesar watched from above in the Roman stadiums, as the slaves were torn apart by lions. They humiliated people one by one, and then my name was called. They pushed me into a chair, blindfolded me, and poured flour and some other junk on me and another kid. And meanwhile there was laughter. The teachers, of course, watched from above and laughed at us, as well as at the others who were called out. Then I transferred to another school. But I started as a freshman there too. Of course, the teasing continued there as well. The fourth graders declared that anyone who didn't attend the freshman initiation wouldn't be left alone until the end of the year. However, I didn't go, and it didn't cause any problems. A few years later, I also attended an adult school, and there were no issues. A couple of snide remarks, but nothing else. I completed that school, moved on to the next one. But there was trouble on the first day. Behind my back, 3 idiots were explaining to each other how they were going to beat me up and such. But I left that school anyway, so that problem was resolved.